So a new specialty store opened up in Manhattan Shopping Center. And the store specialized in selling husbands. And so it's hard to find love and hard to find the right one. So this store gives you the opportunity, of women the opportunity to browse among the men available with various floors and various choices. And there are 6 floors, and going up each floor adds more positive attributes to the men that are available. But the catch is, as you go up, you can purchase, or if you go higher, then you are no longer eligible to have the lower floors be a part of your choice. And so this woman starts shopping, and she starts on the first floor, so excited to find a husband. And on the first floor, the sign says, first floor, these men have jobs. And the woman said, well, that's better than my last boyfriend, but I think I could do better than that. And so he goes to second floor. Second floor says, these men have jobs and love kids. She says, oh, that's nice, but I wonder what's up another level. And so third floor says, these men have jobs, love kids, and are extremely good looking. So, well, that's really nice, but I wonder what else. And then she goes up to the fifth floor, and the fifth floor says, these men have jobs, love kids, are extremely good looking, and they help with housework. And it's just, wow, I wonder, well, what else I could get? It says, well, these men, the fifth floor says, these men have jobs, love kids, are extremely good looking, help with the housework, and have a strong romantic streak in them. She says, wow, that is incredible, but I wonder what else I could get. And so she goes to the sixth floor, and the sixth floor reads, you are visitor 7,548,652 to this floor. There are no men on this floor. This floor only exists as proof that women are impossible to please. All right. So today we're talking about love. So how many people have had a time in your life where you felt like you didn't have enough love or you wanted to have more love in your life? Anybody have a time like that? How many people have ever found that sometimes loving people is hard work? And then how many people still believe that you could love bigger and deeper and have more love in your life than you ever had before still? All right. You know, love is the thing that every one of us is searching for. It is a thing that every single one of us desires above everything else. Everyone wants to feel cared for. Everyone wants to feel valued and cherished and appreciated. Everybody wants to feel a sense of connection and belonging. You know, I think the amazing thing about love is that love, in addition to doing all those other wonderful things, gives us the strength to carry on. It gives us the resilience to hang in there. It gives us the power to overcome and to strive to improve ourselves. You know, love has an amazing uplifting and transforming power to every area of our lives. The Bible tells us so much that love is the greatest commandment, to love God with all our heart, mind, soul, and strength, and to love others as ourselves. In Corinthians it says you can have knowledge, you can have wisdom, you can have wealth, but if you have love, you have nothing. And then finally, Paul said that love is the fulfilling of the law. He's saying love is what makes life fulfilling. Love is what fulfills us and fulfills life itself. You know, love makes life better, it more beautiful, more wonderful. And going through painful and challenging stuff, love makes those things more bearable. I think we'd all agree that love is the greatest thing in the world. And as great as love is, what I find amazing is, and surprising and saddening, is that more and more people are reporting in the United States that they feel lonely. 3 out of 5 people report feeling at least lonely some of the time and some all of the time. You know, since 2018, loneliness in the United States has increased by 13%. That even though the impact of the epidemic and COVID has slowed down, the level of loneliness has actually increased. And I believe that there is a connection with loneliness and feeling a lack of love in our lives. The great spiritual writer Emmett Fox said this about the power of love. He said, there is no difficulty that enough love will not conquer. There is no disease that enough love will not heal. No door that enough love will not open. It makes no difference how deep set the problem, how hopeless the outlook, how muddled the tangle, or how great the mistake. A sufficient realization of love will dissolve it all. Love is the answer. We are here to be love, to share love and spread love, because love is what we are all looking for. This is the second week in our 4-week annual series, The Songs of Life, where I take some famous, popular song and extract from it a spiritual message, a message and a lesson for us for living our lives in a greater way. Last week we started with the 1973 hit by Elton John and Bernie Taupin, Goodbye Yellow Brick Road. Today we're going to look at another 1973 song written by Kenneth Gamble and Leon Huff, made famous by the OJs, and that song is Now That We Found Love. Now, in 1978, 5 years later, a Jamaican band called Third World did a reggae version of it, which is the one I knew. I saw them in concert, and it was fabulous. And then Heavy D and the Boys in 1991 did a dance version of it. And you'll probably see, if you saw the movie Hitch, it appears at the end of it. If you heard it, you would recognize it. But it is a powerful and an incredible song. This song really acknowledges the presence and power of love in our lives and how we can make our lives happier, more joyful and more positive and fulfilling. And then it goes deeper and asks us a question about it. And so whether that love is a romantic love or it is an agape love or brotherly love, whatever kind of love it is we find, the profound question this song asks is, what are you going to do with it? Now that you've found love, what are you going to do with it? And the message there is so powerful, but it is saying, how are you going to put love into action in your life? How are you putting love into action in your life? And how would you like to put it in action in greater ways? Because love is an action. Sometimes we think that love is a feeling. That warm, giddy feeling that you have butterflies in your stomach, get all excited to see somebody that you're attracted or connected to or just admire. And that is a nice feeling. It actually, in the therapy world, is called limerence. It's that infatuation feeling, but everyone agrees that that's not love. It could lead to love, but it isn't. It is the feeling. And so here's the definition that I found about love. It says, an intimate emotional bond that strengthens over time through a series of caring and supportive actions. That the way we build love in our lives, the way we strengthen love is through actions over time. And it is then that emotional and deeper connection of love is built. There was a study at Penn State that had 495 people given 60 scenarios and asked the question, what makes you feel more love? And they gave them different options of what people say or what people do. And they found that for most people, small gestures of kindness and thoughtfulness and helpfulness make people feel more loved than even hearing "I love you." That cuddling with a baby or hugging someone or being there, actually, that behaviors, absolutely are the thing that make people feel more loved. And so the fact is, we can have an impact on the level of love in all of our lives, by engaging in action, by doing something with love, putting it into motion. So this morning, I want to talk about 3 things that this song teaches us to do with love, to have a greater level of experience and fulfillment with love. Let me just read you the first verse. It says, let's give it a chance. Let it control our destiny. We owe it to ourselves to live happy eternally. And so the first thing is, this song teaches is you got to give love a chance. So where in your life are you not feeling as much love, or you'd like to feel more love? And if you had all the access to God's full and abundant and unconditional love, how would you love the people in your life differently than you're currently loving them? How would you love bigger? Who would you love bigger? How would you love better? How would you love more abundantly, more deeply, more kindly, more patiently? Because for us to love bigger, we need to open our hearts more and to have and to allow ourselves, to make new choices in how we love. Because sometimes, while love is an action, love is a choice, sometimes we don't make the best love choices. Like one of the choices that we make in love sometimes is that we close our hearts or we shut our hearts off to certain people. And not only do we close our hearts, sometimes we intentionally keep them closed and refuse to open them to certain people. Another poor love choice is when we push love away or run away from love thinking that we'll get hurt, so we kind of sabotage things so we don't get hurt. Another one is making poor judgments. Like, you ever been impulsive in love or foolish for love? I categorize those things as it seemed like a good idea at the time. You ever have one of those? There's a song they call it, Looking for Love in All the Wrong Places. I mean, sometimes we can make some bad decisions. But here's how we make some better choices when it comes to love. The first one is to go to your heart and listen and trust your heart. Trust and listen to your heart. In the Shakespearean play, Measure for Measure, there's a line that says, "Go to thy bosom, knock there, and ask the heart what it doth know." I bet you our hearts are way more intelligent than we give it credit for. I know if we go deep down, we know more things than we let ourselves know. Sometimes just checking in with our bodies about, is this food the right food for me? Sometimes our body will tell us. Sometimes in a certain decision, is this the right decision for me? If we listen to our heart, sometimes we'll know, is this the right relationship? And so what we need to do is to begin to listen and trust with our heart. That is a powerful choice for love and for life, is to listen to your heart. Your heart knows. And the second one is, if we want to expand the level and have a deeper and greater level of love, we need to be willing to risk being vulnerable, to share more of ourselves, to share with the people closest to us what's really going on with us. Because sometimes we don't share. Sometimes we withhold, Anybody ever overshare and feel like you exposed yourself and you felt really embarrassed? Now that's embarrassing, and then so sometimes the next time we think, I'm not going to go there again. But the truth is, with love, you got to risk yourself. You got to be willing to put yourself out there. And we're going to survive those little embarrassments or those moments where we get a little more vulnerable, because the other risk is too hard of not opening our hearts fully. Somebody once said, if you want to taste the sweet fruit of life, you got to go out on a limb, because that's where the fruit is. That we've got to be able to put it out there. So I ask you, where in your life are you willing to open your heart more and be more vulnerable? To risk and share more of yourself? To be honest with the people you need to be honest with about what's really going on with yourself? Whether it's in your primary relationship or a family member or work or in church, where is it that are you willing to open up and to open your heart, to have a deeper connection with someone? Because until we are more vulnerable and share more of our hearts, we're never going to have that fullness of the love that we all desire. And sometimes we've created patterns in our lives where we don't share, patterns where we withhold, and so that breaking through it in taking that risk is a bit scary, but it's something we need to do. Emmett Fox says, do it trembling if you must, but do it. Because the benefits and the rewards and the fulfillment are absolutely worth the risk. Love is an action. And so if we want a new experience, we ought to create some new actions. Make some new decisions. What is some small gesture you can do for someone in your life? Some small way of helping them or something that's important to them. Sometimes just doing those small little things absolutely makes a huge difference. So let's give love a chance. It's two ways. Number one, be willing to risk your vulnerability and share something in you with somebody that you know that will be important for you to share. And the second one is pick a new action. Pick a new choice of how you show up and share with some little kind gesture. And so the second thing this song teaches is the second verse says, let's forgive and forget. Let no thought be your enemy. I've never felt so good. I'm happy, happy, happy as a man could be. The quickest thing to stop us from feeling happiness? That is holding a grudge against someone. Holding a level of resentment or bitterness or blame or hatred is the quickest way to deplete our level of peace of mind and happiness. And when it says, let no thought be your enemy, resentment and bitterness and blame and regret and shame are enemies of our peace of mind. They're enemies of our happiness. They're enemies of living the kind of happy and successful life that we all desire. Love isn't easy. It's hard sometimes to even love the people we love. It's harder to love people we don't like. And it's hardest to love people who we feel who have hurt us in some way. Because we hold on to that bitterness. We hold on to that pain. Everybody makes mistakes. Everybody hurts other people unintentionally and sometimes intentionally. And any and every relationship to stay healthy and even to consider being developed into a closer one requires compassion and forgiveness and understanding and listening and patience. And it requires our willingness to work through some of those tough and difficult times and difficult agreements. It's hard, but those rewards are absolutely huge and invaluable. Anybody ever watch Naked and Afraid? Anybody? Who wouldn't mind admitting it other than myself? I'm a fan. I love it. And so it's basically what it is. Two people who are strangers to each other, usually a male or female, dropped like in the Amazon or some rough place, and they have no clothes, and they've got to build a tent together and fire and water and all that kind of stuff and survive for 21 days. 21 days. So this particular episode, and they have to work together. So this particular episode, these two people couldn't stand each other, couldn't agree on anything, were arguing from the beginning. They made some little shelter thing. They only could last in there for one night. And then the guy went and just slept on the floor and threatened leaving. They could not. They argued, spoke over each other. It was horrible. They just could not stand each other. 17 days. They didn't speak. They just did their something. After 17 days, he offers her some food, a fish. And that kind of reduces some of the tensions a bit. And then they start talking and kind of own it, admit that they were both, a little stubborn. And they forgave each other. And it over the next 4 days, they really worked through so much that at the end, and they finished it successfully, which it looked impossible at the beginning, they were actually even closer than some of the people who get along the whole time because they hung in there and they worked through it. Sometimes working through stuff in relationships, working through stuff where we disagree, instead of just splitting and not talking or not seeing each other, sometimes those things actually bring us closer. It helps us experience greater levels of love. Working through and forgiveness and compassion are such important things in any and every relationship. In the book of Matthew, chapter 5, verse 24, it says, "So when you are offering your gift at the altar, if you remember that your brother or your sister has something against you, leave your gift there before the altar and go. First, be reconciled to your brother or sister, and then come and offer your gift." And what he's saying is if you got resentment or bitterness, you're not going to feel God's peace. You're not going to be able to offer God very much when there is resentment and bitterness and anger still within us. We need to be, forgiveness, I would say, is an incredible act of love because it is giving up hate for love. It is giving up being caught in the past to free ourselves to move forward in the present and in the future. That love heals through forgiveness. Love liberates through forgiveness. Love frees through forgiveness. And sometimes we think we need to know how to forgive. Somebody does something big, I don't know how to forgive them for that. The only thing you need with forgiveness, you got to be willing. Are you willing to forgive? Are you willing to be healed? Are you willing to free yourself from the pain? God will heal it. The question is, are we willing? Willing to love them, bless them, and release them to their highest good, and willing to love ourselves, bless ourselves, and release ourselves to our highest good. Every one of us needs forgiveness. It is an aspect and dynamic of love in all human relationships. We need it individually, we need it as couples, as communities, as a country, and as a world, because it is a healing and liberating dynamic and aspect of love. And the final thing this song teaches, now that we've found love, what do we do with it? Is the third thing to do is to deepen our level of self-love. The line in the song says, "Now that I've got it right here in my hand, I'm going to spread love all over the land." And the fact is, the only way we can spread, love over the land is to make sure that love is in here, that we are filled in here with our own love, our own sense of appreciation and care for ourselves. The second greatest commandment is to love others as ourselves. That means loving ourselves is a commandment and a direction from God. That is a responsibility we all have, is to love ourselves. Self-love is a vital and important aspect of peace of mind and success and happiness. In the book of John, it says God is love, and we are created in the image and likeness of God, which means we are created in the image and likeness of love. We are here to love, to express love, and to experience and share and spread love. So loving ourselves sounds easy. Shouldn't it be easy? But here are two reasons why it's not. One, sometimes we are conditioned to believe that we're not good enough, that we are not worthy enough, worthy of love, worthy of success, worthy of greatness. Sometimes we think we are unworthy of God's grace and God's love. Sometimes we have a hard time seeing our own beauty and our own greatness and our own talent. We have a hard time believing in ourselves and would rather spend time judging, criticizing, and putting down ourselves. That makes it hard to love ourselves. And the second thing that makes it hard to love ourselves is that we think in our culture, self-love is narcissistic and selfish and egotistical and greedy. So it makes it hard. We feel guilty. Loving ourselves feels like it's a wrong thing to do. But it is a vital and an important thing for us to do. Because unless we are loving and nurturing and respecting and honoring ourselves, we limit our ability to love and cherish and help and support other people in our lives. Another Shakespearean play quote, Henry V says, "Self-love, my liege, is not so vile a sin as self-neglecting." Neglecting ourselves is a horrible sin. It is abomination against God because God made us and made us good and made us as vehicles to bring more light and love and beauty into the world. And self-love, self-care, honoring and cherishing who we are, knowing our value and treating ourselves with love and support, compassion and respect is a vital thing for us to do our spiritual work, to live and enjoy our lives more fully and more freely. Jesus loved himself, but there was no arrogance there. He was respectful and kind to others, and he was centered in the truth of who he was without any doubt. And so it's an important thing. So two things for us to help us with self-love. One is to do a little meditation where we even say the lines, "I'm created in the image and likeness of love," or "God loves me, and I love myself." Just meditating on, I'm made in the image and likeness of love. God loves me, and I love myself. I'm created in the image and likeness of love. God loves me, and I love myself. Let's say a couple of those together. Let's start with, I'm created in the image and likeness of love. Okay, let's say it again. I am created in the image and likeness. Take a deep breath and just open yourself to that. One more time. I am created in the image and likeness of love. Take a deep breath. And now God loves me. Together. God loves me. Again. God loves me. One more time. God. Take a deep breath. And now I love myself. Again, I love myself. One more time. I love myself. Take a deep breath. And so the second thing we should do to deepen our self-love is to write down things that we appreciate about ourselves. It's so rare that we appreciate ourselves. Sometimes we can't take it when other people appreciate us, let alone us appreciating ourselves. So what I want you to do is either once a week or a couple times a week, write down things that you appreciate about yourself. Maybe you appreciate that you're funny. Maybe you appreciate that you're kind, or appreciate that you're smart, or appreciate you have a really beautiful smile, or appreciate that you love your job, or appreciate that you're a good neighbor, you're a good friend, you're good at parallel parking, whatever it might be. I have this obsession with parallel parking. Maybe you appreciate that you're intuitive. Maybe you appreciate that you're creative. Maybe you appreciate that you're good at knitting or juggling or bowling. I don't know what it is in your life. But the question is, what do you appreciate? Us appreciating ourselves, cherishing ourselves, and valuing ourselves on a regular basis actually open up the channels for the flow of light and love and goodness and beauty in this world. Because the more we love ourselves, the more love we have to share with other people. The more we honor and cherish ourselves, the more we can love and honor and cherish others. And that's how we can spread love all over the world. It has to come from in here first. I love the line in the song that we owe it to ourselves, to live and be happy. So we owe it to ourselves to give love a chance, to be vulnerable, and to think of some simple act and kind of gesture to someone that we love. We need to give love a chance by forgiving, and working through those tough things because they will bring us closer together. We need to give love a chance, by deepening our self-love, by doing a meditation of love, and also taking time to appreciate ourselves. Love is an action. Love is a choice. And the song says, now that we found love, what are we going to do with it? God bless you all.